All right, welcome back into another Prize Picks video. Have a bunch of hot dogs that are going to be available throughout the day. Let's go ahead and touch on the top props to pair with those. So yesterday was another solid day. I went 3 for 4 on the day. All 3 of the hitting props hit, and that's a day after there was finally a bad day for the hitting fantasy score props. I've been warning against that, like it's just due to happen. Now it's nice to see the hitting fantasy score props bounce back in a strong way yesterday. I actually started off with the slate with those 3 hitting. I'm like, all right, man, this is gonna be a great day. As long as we get 2 out of the 3 tacos to hit, we're gonna be good. The NHL prop ended up getting refunded, which really was frustrating to me. And then the other 2 tacos, thankfully, were actually Miami Heat based props, so we couldn't pair Duncan Robinson with that. Regardless, if you guys use these to individually bet a prop with the taco to make those individual bets, you had a profitable day. So solid day yesterday. We look to continue that today because we do have some hot dogs available as well. So yes, this Joe Ryan prop is most likely going to be gone by the time this video is uploaded. I apologize for that. Just working on stuff. You know, that's the tough part about both being a content creator and a business owner, right? I will say the pitching props that we do have available are going to be solid props. Like I'm fine with all 3 of these. Unlike yesterday with like the Bam one where I'm like, yeah, we're going to make this prop bet, but I don't love it. This one I'm perfectly fine with. These 2, especially Sandy's been pitching deep into games. As long as that continues, we should be good. So what I want to do is I want to find the best props to go in and pair with these ones using the 9-5 cheat sheet. And so the biggest problem that I have with like the hot dogs being available like they are is the fact that they really are very sensitive with their lines on the day. They are quick to correct them. Now, there's going to be lines that come in and out throughout the day that you can go ahead and use. But right now it looks very tight. Like we have a very limited amount of strong bets that we want to use. So one that I find kind of interesting is actually this Ben Lively prop. Okay, we can see it is basically set as a push, but it's basically set as a push at 3.7 strikeouts. The PrizePicks line has it set at 3.5. The projection is going to be 4.51. We typically don't see a big discrepancy like that in terms of pitcher strikeouts, especially in terms of projection. Typically speaking, the lines are very much solid across the board. Now, why is that? Let's talk about it. And I am trying to chase more later in the day props because I want you guys to be able to use them throughout the day. I want as much actionable information as possible in this video. So looking at, we got Ben here. We can see the first 2 games that he had pitched. He pitched 2.1 and 3 innings. I believe that was because they were trying to, he might have been banged up or something. I didn't look into it too much, but that was kind of my takeaway from it. He earned a start May 19th, and now they are giving him another start. So that is going to be appealing in itself. In that start, he gave up 2 runs, pitched 5.2 innings, had 8 strikeouts. Not only that, but he also gets a good matchup going against Cincinnati, who on the season ranks bottom 5 in terms of strikeouts given up to opposing pitchers. Now, they've been a little bit better over their last 3 games, but on the season, they have been struggling. So as long as Ben is able to get around 5 innings, I do believe that he's going to be able to get over, hopefully, 5 strikeouts or 3.5 strikeouts, and get 4 strikeouts. And this just refresh. Let's see if we get any more better over props. Not really too much. Yeah, not a big edge there. All right, let's go ahead and look at some hitting fantasy score props, see if we have any really good ones there. All right, so looking at it, the best one that we got Paul Goldschmidt popping up in there again. That's not the best one. I see Bryce Harper has the best one here. The issue with that is this one's probably going to be live basically right before this video goes live, or it gets uploaded. So that's unfortunate. We do see another one here, Marcus. Okay, this is very interesting. So we look at the average sportsbook line. They would set his fantasy score prop, if we adjusted for it, for the PrizePicks scoring at 12.1. He's projected to get 10.24. This line is set at 8.5. That is also going to be a very interesting prop. To me, those are going to be the 2 best hitting props in the day. And I am kind of worried about Paul Goldschmidt just because he had 2 home runs last game, like due to have a bad game here shortly. I will say, like Trey Turner, he has been someone that has really just been struggling thus far this season. I know as someone that has him on my fantasy baseball team, just real quickly, guys, on that, I know this is fluff, but we have 6 starters or 6 keepers on the season. 4 of mine are on the IL, and I drafted well. I have 2 players inside the top 50 that are also currently on the IL as well. Then, like, the only player that's not showing up then is Trey Turner. So I need him to turn up, and that's why I've kind of been following it along. It wouldn't be surprising to see him have a good day. He's just due to start producing, okay? And he's been on a bad stretch. And then same thing for someone like Willy Adames, who really just kind of been struggling a little bit recently. It just wouldn't be shocking to see him have kind of a correction day as well. Those last 2 props, they're good enough. Like, if that's the best props that we have available when the slates are going live, I'm fine using those. Obviously, we want to find better odd bets, but those are looking to be the best ones that we're going to get. And now I am just looking at some pitching fantasy score props. So let's see here. You could use Shane with the Sandy prop, I guess. pitching fantasy score prop. Now, the average Vegas line is not projecting him to get a win. That typically doesn't happen, but looking at the projection score versus the PrizePicks line, typically speaking, as long as these two are close, I'm fine with rolling with them. Pitching fantasy score is a little bit different than like hitting fantasy score, just the way it's calculated, because the average Vegas line is not going to say someone's going to get a win, and more times than not going to give them a quality start. Whereas projection data, the PrizePicks line might be adjusting for that. So we do see the projection data for Zach Gallen also says most likely going to be a good over for fantasy score if you guys want to roll with that. And then just real quickly, pulling up the PrizePicks Underdog golf cheat sheet, just trying to see if we are getting any possible edges here. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we are. This is very interesting to me. I just want to point this out because the tournament that we have this week is going to be the Charles Schwab Challenge Tournament. This is very much a tournament that has experienced high wins that have really led to the scoring being higher scoring. Okay. And so that's why the event average is slightly over par. And that is why the projection data is more or less favoring the overs. Okay. And we are seeing a very big distinction between Underdog and also PrizePicks. I don't mind the idea of maybe pairing both Scotty Scheffler and Collin Morikawa together to bet the under. And I know the data is saying bet the over. I'm saying that because the weather is not projected to be a big issue. Like, this tournament typically has experienced 15 to 20 plus mile per hour winds over the past few seasons. Thus, the scoring has been much more difficult. If that doesn't happen, it wouldn't be shocking to see maybe Scotty, maybe Collin Morikawa go under par. And obviously, there's some of the best players in the world. Like, that wouldn't be shocking. So, could be a good situation for us there. And then same thing with like Ricky Fowler. We could bet the under there. That's the closest one. And that's kind of how I probably will go about doing this. Maybe Danny McCarthy as well. Those are two very solid plays on the week. That'd be fine betting the unders there if you want to roll with that. There are a couple of matchup-based props that I want to touch on as well. So first and foremost, I'm sure if you guys follow sports, you know about the Michael Block story, a PGA pro, which is weird, a golf pro. He's a golf pro that played well at the PGA Championship last week. He qualified for the Charles Schwab Challenge. Now he's going against Kevin Kisner for a birdie or better matchup. Now, Kevin Kisner is a pretty good golfer, although this season has been terrible. It's just tough to imagine Block getting more birdies than an actual golf pro. Even though Kisner has struggled, I don't expect that. If you want to make that bet, you can. Another one that kind of stands out to me is like Andrew Putnam versus Cameron Davis. Putnam would be a good play this week if we weren't worrying about some injury situations with him. He has good course history and whatnot, but he had to withdraw from an event 2 weeks ago and then has struggled since then. With that being said, Cameron Davis has been a little bit hit or miss, but if he's on his game, he should be able to produce more birdies than Andrew Putnam. Then like even Justin Rose over Thomas Dietrich, there's a big gap in like talent there. I'd be fine with all those. Okay. So I know I talked a lot. Let's go and get into like my bet of the day. And once again, these are going to be to pair with those remaining 2 hot dogs. So here's an example of a way you could go about applying those golf bets that I mentioned. Now you could go with Scotty Scheffler for understrokes. The issue that we have is that the more golf bets that you add in there, they actually have it adjusted because of the edge that there is there by betting on how the course is going to play. They actually reduce the payout then because of that. Okay. That's a good sign of that actually being an edge. So I know the Joe Ryan one's going to be gone by the time it goes live. You could use one of the other ones, right? Okay. So that's just an example of how you could go about doing that. Then there were those birdie or better matchups that I like as well. You guys can choose from those. And then here's another example. I don't mind this idea with golf-based props. You guys know my strategy though. I want to bet these individually. That way we are just taking advantage of the free money that's out there. The reason why PrizePicks is able to do these hot dogs, these tacos, is because people do this exact thing where they stretch themselves too thin on a day, and then instead of taking it as like the free promo money, they maybe make $2 on their bet or whatever, like they're not properly attacking. But with golf, where when you're doing stroke based props, at least where they reduce the payout, then it does make sense. So for me, I'd rather just bet these all individually with the hot dog that we have. Okay. And the issue that we have with this specific slate is that as I'm recording this video, some of the props that I want to be on already went live. That being said, throughout the day, the cheat sheet will be updating. So if you guys want to check that out, it's available for $10 a month. And also these golf-based props are going to be taking place tomorrow. Okay. So I know a lot of people don't like to have their money tied up for 2 days, really. Okay. I get that. Okay. That's going to be the struggle. It kind of is what it is today. That's what we have, especially with no basketball. The lines are going to be tighter, and that's what we are seeing. But that's going to be all for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, remember, make sure to like and subscribe. That does help with the channel a lot. Trying to keep growing. Obviously, the more love from you guys, the more I can do on my part as well. So let's have a good slate today. And as always, let's keep cashing.